almost caught us with their pants down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Universal Lens. We had our headphones off. Sorry about that. I am John Emilio.
And I am John Stamos.
No, my wife used to love John Stamos.
Well, come on. I'm as straight as they come, and even I got to say, he's a good-looking dude.
That's one handsome fellow. That's one
I'm not John Stamos. I'm not Uncle Jesse. This is Henry Belcher. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in to our wonderful show. And housekeeping before we begin.
Everything's clean. What are you talking about?
yeah. I'm not. By the way, you're not gonna make it as a housekeeper in John's house. I'll tell you that right now. There's nothing to clean or anything. But housekeeping is please keep the comments coming, keep the likes, the subscribes, share. Please share all our episodes. It helps.
Sharing is caring.
It helps because even if we've had some growth, I don't think we're ever going to reach all the people we have to reach.
Why not?
That's right. Why not? So help us get there.
Yes. Click, subscribe, like us. If you don't like us, you don't know what you're talking about enough. If you don't like us, then that's fine. You don't like us. You don't have to like us.
And if
I still like you, even if you don't like me.
If you receive a dead fish wrapped in a newspaper, it doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't happen. That's a farce.
It doesn't mean anything.
I've never done that except for that one time. I've never done.
I didn't say you did it. I say I know a guy.
I know a guy. You know a guy? I know a guy.
Yeah,
I know a guy.
And speaking of knowing guys, today's cell phone disaster. Today, by the way, if you're watching this video, today was a cell phone disaster day. Because this is probably not going to air the same day that happened, but cell phone disaster. The world was a buzz, right?
Yeah, I had no idea it happened. I was at the gym with my buddy Anthony. He's like, "Yeah, did you hear about the phones?" I looked at my phone. I had service. I was like, "No," I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza in the background as we were working out. I'm like, "No idea what you're talking about, man." Sorry.
That's great.
Yeah, Dr. Joe, baby.
And that's where you want to be. And I was telling you earlier. I said, I don't go to news anymore. News comes to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it's important enough, it'll get to you eventually. Yeah. I mean, we're not telling you don't. You want to listen to the news. I watch the news for 20 minutes in the morning. I come downstairs to put it on usually because my wife comes down right away with me too, and then she gets up to go inside to get a cup of coffee or do something. As soon as she gets up, I put on something else. I like watching WFAN sports. I like sports, so I kind of just get my my sports updates, and that's it. And then I get my day going. But yeah, the news will come to you eventually. Yeah. It will. It has to. If you're around, if you're around people, the news will come to you. If you're by yourself, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
maybe you won't hear about it. Yeah.
But, and if you're around people, some other challenges are there too.
Yeah. There's always challenges. Cannot avoid them. You could try, but it's it's probably a losing proposition.
Right.
Best you can do is just be prepared for the challenges that arise in life, and being prepared by doing the things that we speak about in this show are paramount to you getting there. Oh, did I mention, did I tell you I passed both I said I passed. So yeah, I got, no, I'm cleared. I'm cleared.
You're cleared?
Yeah, I'm clear. So
he's not pregnant.
Officially, I am certified to be a coach. Life and spiritual coach. I'm certified. Paperwork has got to be filled out in the next week or two, but that's just formality.
So theoretically today,
so one of my practice clients are actually turned into a paying client.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean we're starting like once every couple of weeks right now, because things are expensive, and I get that, right? So, but yeah, so I'm excited about that.
That's great.
And I don't know. I mean, as far as that's where we're at. I'm building a website. And I'm actually going to link the podcast to the website.
Yeah, makes
also.
sense.
So it's going to be like all in kind of one. If anybody follows me on Instagram, you might have noticed that my handle changed again. It's not the Universal Lens anymore. Now it's on Instagram only. It's at John F. Emilio, because I'm working.
Brand.
I'm working to brand me. I even changed the way I do my posts now. I'm going to a certain setup the way it's like black and white with my name at the bottom. I've done a couple of them already. So yeah, if you notice on Instagram, I'm not the Universal Lens anymore. I'm John F. Emilio. All the Universal Lens stuff is going to still be on there when I post it. like it is on the Facebook page and the other page, but I'm working to kind of build that brand. So anyway, that's all great stuff. So if anybody out there knows of anybody who might be interested, by all means, just, you could find me on Instagram or Facebook. My information's there. My email will be there. Just send me a message or something. And I'd love to talk to the person to see if we're a fit, because like I said, I'm only working on certain things. But put all that away. So house cleaning done, and we can start with our episode. What's our
housekeeping?
Wait. That was not the Black Sheep. Was it the Black Sheep?
I don't know.
It was Chris Farley and David Spain.
Trust me, it's one of those things. Yeah.
Was it the Black Sheep, or was it the Black Sheep? Yeah, the one where he's the son of Calhoun Automotive.
Yeah, he's a tycoon.
Yeah. Housekeeping. You want?
I knew.
For
I heard
the
it
love
somewhere.
of God, go away.
Somewhere my subconscious was.
That was a great movie. And he he opens the door with his underwear on. Anyway, we got off track there a little bit, but that's always a funny movie if you want to watch it. So I've been listening to a lot of Dr. Joe lately. And the reason why is, and this actually ties into acceptance. So we've talked about acceptance a lot on the show, and we will continue to talk about acceptance. But we always preface that acceptance is not a one and done kind of thing. Acceptance is something that we constantly do. It's a practice.
Yep.
It's something you do every day. With acceptance, a lot of people this is what my post actually was about this today on Instagram and on Facebook. Acceptance, people think it's a waving the white flag. Okay, I accept it as what it is, and this is it.
Rolling over,
but it's not. Acceptance is actually super empowering. When we accept something, we're saying, yes, this is how it is. And what the goal of it is to disconnect or defuse from the mental rumination that would follow whatever that situation is. And when I say mental rumination, I don't mean something you could do to fix a situation or to better it. I'm saying the mental rumination of, why is this happening to me? Oh, woe is me. What does this mean? If it's obsessive compulsive disorder, what if, right? People who experience OCD.
The roller coaster ride.
Yeah. People who experience OCD understand those two words very well. It's accepting that this is happening, and I'm going to take a committed action to live a meaningful and valued life. Mm-hmm. That's what acceptance actually means. So with Dr. Joe, this is what I love about it. So I met with somebody last week, somebody I know, who I do volunteer work with somewhere, and this person experiences OCD and found out that what I do and wanted to meet, and I gave her a copy of my book, and we were talking, and she's a big fan of Dr. Joe also. And I kind of prefaced something to her, and I said, okay, I said, Dr. Joe is great, but Dr. Joe is great if you've done a little bit of work before for certain people. So for somebody like me who has an anxious mind, a what-if mind, if you go right into something like Dr. Joe Dispenza, you could actually get stuck in a rabbit hole, because you're going to get into replacing thoughts without realizing it. Because Dr. Joe actually talks about changing your mindset. With obsessive compulsive disorder or with anxiety, you don't change your mindset. You accept that mindset and then choose to focus on something better and a life you want to live. Once you get to that point and you've understood that, and you've practiced acceptance, you've practiced ACT, you've done therapy maybe if you need to, and you've gotten to that point where I can watch my mind and I understand these thoughts are going to be there, I don't need to change them. Now, drop in Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he says, envision a better future. Like, I do the meditations in the morning now, right? And sometimes it's hard for me to envision that future. My mind wants to
that's right.
Yeah, it wants to go all over the place. I just keep reshifting and focusing on what I'm working for, what I want, the negative emotions that I notice. He goes to bring awareness to those, right? And I'm like, oh, yes, I notice what those are. So Dr. Joe, once you've done some acceptance work and you understand what acceptance means, for especially for somebody like me, I think is amazing, because now he allows me the ability to not only accept and refocus on valued and meaningful, but actually use this tool as an ability to say, this is how I want to live. This is how I want to live. I'm not replacing the thoughts that come up and say, but what if, oh my God, doomsday scenario. No, they still want to come up. I acknowledge them. I know that they're there. I thank my mind for them. This is how I want to live. And I put my energy into that. So when I've been doing the meditations now, and like I said, I do notice at times, sometimes they've been great, where I'm getting all into it and I'm like feeling really nice and charged, and I'm getting this kind of, I don't say euphoric, but this really nice feeling going, and I'm kind of seeing like what I would like my life to be like. And at other times it's not, but at all times I'm still able to kind of say, this is what I want. This is how I want my life to be. In spite of what's happening now, this is how I would like my life to be. And it kind of keeps you moving in a direction. So that's why I think Dr. Joe is like, with the manifestation part of it, it's really great. I mean, if you get too tied up into the words he uses, you could kind of get stuck, especially depending on the way you're originally wired, you could kind of get stuck in a rabbit hole. But if you just take it as envisioning what you would love your life to be like, and you start to rewire those old patterns. But rewiring those old patterns will happen a little bit more easier or a little bit more seamlessly if you don't try to get rid of the old patterns that are there. So the old patterns, you accept them. You have to allow them to be there when they want to come up, and just keep shifting our focus onto the patterns that the new patterns that we're creating. So your mind has been, even for somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder or anxiety, right? And we know that there's an inherent neurological, our amygdala is very sensitive and it kind of goes off right away. And that's why we get that fight or flight response and that, oh my God, what does this mean? And we kind of get anxious. But even for somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder or anxiety, you can still focus your energy where you want it to be. You can still focus on that better future that you want while accepting what's kind of happening. And that's why I love it that he says, no matter what your past was, you have the ability to rewrite what you think you are. Like what I think my personality is. Am I coming in staticky?
No.
Okay, good. What I think my personality is, I get to rewrite that if I want to.
Yep.
But I said, I preface it while accepting what your mind is doing right now and saying, thank you, but that's what I want. Thank you, but that's what that's how I envision. I envision myself being like this. And my mind's telling me this, and I accept it. It could be here if it wants to be here. I'm not replacing it. I'm not pushing it away, but I'm going to use this same tool that brings up these other thoughts and images to try to conjure up what I would love it to look like. And if you do that enough, you start to believe or be what you're projecting forward. So I love he uses that. He uses an example. It's like wash, rinse, repeat. Like it's if you get up in the morning and your mind says go to the coffee machine, he goes, before you know it, you find yourself in front of the coffee machine. Then your mind tells you to go pick out an outfit. Before you know it, you're picking out an outfit. Then your mind says to go do this, and you do, and it's a pattern that you keep doing. And he makes a point of saying, if we do this enough times, can't we just say we could take that past old pattern and place it into the future, and we could predict what our future is going to be like tomorrow and the day after, because it's the same thing you do every day. Well, his point is you could actually rewrite that and change things if you choose to, but you need awareness, acceptance. That's where this all comes into. Like none of that works without this. You can't change your mental habits or the way your mind is wired or how you think unless you are aware of your old patterns. It's very important and that's why I kept going back to, you need to have the acceptance, because without acceptance and awareness, you don't realize what your old patterns are. So the only way you realize your own patterns is by having that awareness, accepting that they're there, or whatever they might be, and then saying, well, this is how I want it to be going forward. Not that the old patterns aren't going to want to show up. Your mind's going to tell you to go to the coffee maker tomorrow morning anyway again. It's going to. Yeah. And that's an example, right? Maybe I don't go to the coffee maker tomorrow morning. Maybe I say, you know what? I don't want to drink this coffee. My mind's telling me to, but I want to do this instead. And you choose to start changing things up in your life. And again, that's a very a simple example, that could be replaced with anything in life, right? More grander decisions, bigger decisions, feelings, emotions, patterns that you follow, negative thinking that you follow and believe. Allow that negative thinking to be there. Understand that it's there. Thank you very much, mind, for telling me I can't be like that. I can't do this, but I envision myself doing it, and I'm gonna work towards that. Eventually, the idea is, in the meditation, the big part of it is eventually you get to the point where you do those things.
You've ingrained a new pattern.
You've created a new reality for yourself.
And the pattern that you wanted to ingrain.
Yes, it's a pattern that you wanted to ingrain.
Not
correct.
One that was ingrained for you or unconsciously.
Right? Yes, correct.
Because you had this unconscious ingraining where, like you said, go to the coffee machine, pick out your outfit, do this, do that. And he talks a lot about shushing your mind. Like, sit down, treat it like a little boy.
When you're meditating.
Yeah.
He says, sit here until I say get up.
That's right. Because your mind's going to...
It's a meditation, but not with thoughts. Yeah.
And it's true, right? Because if you've ever been in meditation, you hear something, you're meditating. Your mind,
because that's your old mind body habits are subconsciously ingrained in you. And that's where the subconscious he talks about, right? Like they say 10% of your mind is conscious, 90 is subconscious. And the subconscious are your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, your habits, all that which has been ingrained in you over years. It's automatic. So 90% of your mind is autopilot. But that 10%, if you're able to realize that it's there, that conscious, that awareness, right? The choice, that's the 10% that allows you to start to rewire that 90%, because now you start to choose. So it's not the body doesn't say one thing, the mind follows and you do it, right? Now as your body says, your body learns, it wants to do something, and your mind says, oh, the body wants to do this, like you're meditating, right? And the body goes itch, and your mind goes scratch, and you go, or your mind goes, move, get up, I can't do here, and you start doing this, and you open your eyes and you shift. Instead, when that happens, the mind goes, get up, move. That's when Dr. Joe says, you stay here, you sit until I say get up. And that's the consciousness. That's that 10% that says, no, I'm in control. I tell you, I show you how I want you to act. And it's not like a control tactic, because it's not, but it's a choice. You choose to tell your mind and your body, no, we're not getting up. And guess what? You'll sit there.
Because who's in charge?
The true I, the awareness, the consciousness, that's the 10% that actually runs the show. If you realize that it's actually the one in the driver's seat and the car's not on autopilot, right? So if you have a Tesla, you have FSD, full self-driving, they call it. So most of us have FSD running our bodies every day. It's full self-driving. And if you've driven a Tesla, and I have one, and I think they're great, and FSD is fun as shit, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It'll want to turn left into a fucking wall once in a while.
Oh, really?
Like it will turn, or it will get glitchy, or it's going to get out of a lane the wrong time. Like, it's not perfect. Your mind's the same way. It's just going to follow that program. And when it can't figure something out, it's just going to ad lib it and go. So if there's nobody behind the wheel, this is a great analogy actually, that goes, no, we can't turn left. We need to turn right because it's the better choice for us. Then what are you going to do? You're going to follow it, and it's going to go where it's got to go.
Yeah.
So you need to have that 10%, right? So that's where I like I said, I'm when I first heard about Dr. Joe, I was always kind of like, yeah, it sounds cool. But like something wasn't driving with me. I'm like, I could see people having a hard time with this if they're not in the right place. Like they're going to use it as thought replacement. They go, that's not going to jive. But then I started thinking more and more. I'm like, wait a second. If we do have that acceptance, and he probably is just assuming this, I go, but if that person doesn't have any awareness or acceptance, those negative habits are going to come back. And if they're just still on autopilot, they're going to take over again. Or if they try to replace them with thought replacement or stop, God knows that doesn't work. Like you tell your mind to stop.
No, but I think it's just a practice. It's a practice. It's because you don't develop that muscle on one meditation or two, It's something that requires this.
Yeah. I remember he said it. What did he say? He said, because he told somebody, he goes, how many years did it take you to form those habits? And I think somebody answered like 35. He's like, and you expect 3 meditations to flip that around? No. It's not that it's going to take you 35 years, but yes, like you were saying, it's a practice.
Right. No, and I think it boils
I
down
didn't mean
to
to cut you off. Sorry.
no. It boils no, please. It boils down to attention and architecture. So the first part of it is your attention on what you want to put attention
I like
on,
that. Attention and architecture.
and then the second part of it is how do you develop your new reality? Well, you architect it the way you want it, and it's difficult. Yeah, I know it's difficult. I'll be the first one to admit it's difficult, but you got to try it. You got to try it, and you also got to see.
It's foreign. Sure, it's going to be difficult.
So here's what happened to me for Dr. Joe, because the way you described it was almost perfectly the way that I felt it. So when you do a Dr. Joe, a deep one, right? Like a 20-minute or
Yeah, his are all 15, 20, 30 minutes.
and which, by the way, I had ones that I really liked saved, and YouTube deleted it. I wish I would have downloaded it.
Go to his website.
Oh, okay.
Go to his website. He has some free ones, and then he has ones you could buy. But go to his website. Yeah, just drjoedispenza.com.
Long story short, you leave that if you're doing it correctly, meaning it's with attention, right?
It's got to be with attention.
You're not doing it. Oh, is it over yet? No. Like if you're looking at your clock, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So when the thing is over, because I put my earbuds in.
Yeah, so do I.
So when the thing is over, he guides you, right?
It's his voice the whole time, man.
You feel great.
In space.
You,
I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth.
It's a little freaky.
I had to stop because it was like, all right, stop. I had to give it a little pause, but I came back to it. By the way, I'm also doing Dr. Joe too. That's why I'm saying I can't find the good ones. I can't find the older ones who were great. But long story short, when you're done with the Dr. Joe meditation, you feel it. And you're like on a new wavelength.
Yeah.
Granted, it's momentary, but
yeah, it's very easy during the day to get lost back in your old habits. Yeah.
But that feeling kind of puts you. First of all, that feeling is releasing good chemicals in your body. So there's the physical reaction that comes with the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That good physical chemical reaction is somewhat of a binder
Mm-hmm.
that when we do this, good things happen. So do it enough, your body will kind of go that way. I don't know how else to say it, but your body
learns.
It's the process of rewiring.
It's rewiring. Yeah, your body will learn for sure. Yeah,
and I think that's what I was trying to all these episodes. That's what I was trying to say with gratitude, because again, I did the gratitude thing with Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe was the one that really, the gratitude thing helps me a lot. And like today was a challenging day for me. And I went to gratitude. And I swear to you, audience, yeah, and because we spoke, I couldn't do it. I couldn't snap out of my rage,
so you can't, here's the key. You can't force it. And the more you try to force it.
I didn't try to force it.
So
what I did was I knocked on gratitude's door and I said, I'm grateful for everything, right? So I was I took a second and I said, let me think about all the things I'm grateful for. And I'm very grateful and I'm very grateful and I'm very, but God damn it.
So Eckhart Tolle said it best. He when he talks about mindfulness and awareness a lot, he'll say, not every time you're not going to be able to, like I'll use an ACT term, which you call diffuse from your thoughts and your emotions. He doesn't say diffuse, but he'll say there'll be times, he goes, when you're still attached to that thought, he goes, and you're attached to that thought. So you're aware that you're attached, but you can't get that full separation, right? But you're aware that you have that attachment. So you're saying, I know I'm attached to this right now. I know my mind is attached to this right now, right? He says, right there is what you like. He goes, that's what it is.
You're describing that perfectly.
He said, you're looking for something better at times. And there are times, yes, there are times you could detach and things could float away and you can refocus on what you want to do in a different headspace. He goes, but at times you can't. And when you can't, he says, that's still awareness as long as you realize you're attached and you're not just blindly acting out that attachment. So like I might have a moment where I'm attached to something and I will say to myself, like consciously in my head, I know I'm attached to this right now. I see my mind gnawing on this and picking on me about it. I know I'm attached. And I don't say it with the hopes that I'm going to feel better, because if I do, I'm getting stuck in a loop and I'm in a trap again. I say, I know I am. What was I doing before I just got attached to this? What was I working on? What was I planning? What was I like? What was my
Right. I was doing something else.
What was my valued task that I was doing right now? And I go back to that task. Not to say that in that moment maybe I feel better, but I know, but I'm consciously saying to myself, I know I'm attached to this right now, so I'm not going down the rabbit hole. I'm staring at the rabbit hole. Maybe I see it's right there.
Yeah.
I see it's there. I see it, and there are plenty of days that I see it's there.
Yeah.
I see it's there, but I'm gonna go this way, or I'm gonna just stay here and do this and leave the rabbit hole there. I'm gonna choose not to step into it. That's the key, right? That's the key. So like even when you were saying like I wanted the gratitude, I was saying I was gratitude, and I went like this, opened my eyes, and I said, "Fuck, what the hell?" You were aware. The question is, were you aware that you were being gracious of the things you had, not expecting it to feel any different in that moment, and saying, okay, but now I'm going to put my energy into something that's positive, which is the hard rewiring to say, this is the path I want to take.
No, the specific feeling was that it reduced my, because it was a situation of angst, anger, a little bit of both.
Yes.
It reduced big time, but it was one of those things where I was hoping to come out of it feeling refreshed.
Yeah, that's always a trap, because that doesn't. Look, when it happens,
and I wasn't.
So when any spiritual teacher or even Dr. Joe, they'll all say the same thing. When it happens, enjoy it. That's great. It doesn't always happen. Right? Dr. Russ Harris says in his book, The Happiness Trap. He says, if you diffuse and you're able to diffuse completely, he goes, that's amazing. He goes, but the goal isn't to feel better. The goal is to be aware that you have now got separation between you and that thought.
So I accomplished the goal because I'm aware.
That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel better. But that only works if you don't keep falling, if you don't buy back into the trap. Not to say that you have to feel better, but like, okay, I know I'm aware, and then I act out on it. Now, if you know you're aware and you act out on it, okay, at least you had that moment before, and that's great. That's still an accomplishment, but you fell into the trap.
You're not helping yourself.
You fell into the trap. The point is to realize that thought, that emotion, that whatever is there, and then choose not to follow it down that rabbit hole and say, nope, thank you very much. I get it. I know I want to feel better right now. I'm aware. I'm diffusing from this thought. I'm diffusing from this emotion. I'm diffusing from this, blah, blah, blah. And I don't have to feel better about it, but I'm going to choose to do what I want to do anyway. Right. And then I said this in my book too, you surprise yourself. You get lost in the moment most of the times. Like you get engrossed in what you're doing, and you do get to a better place without even realizing it.
Yes.
You know,
that happens. Yes. Because just like I told you, I had a negative moment, I also have positive moments.
Sure.
But those positive moments only start to come up, let's say, recently. In other words, with practice under your belt. How do I say? It's like going to karate for the first day.
Yeah.
Right? And your leg is like not even moving the right way. But 6 months into it,
if you
look pretty good.
You look pretty good.
And then 6 months after that, you look even better. And it's the same situation. Because I see myself. Imagine that I can see myself getting upset. I can see myself flying off the handle. And then when I fly off the handle, I'll tell you, yeah, I just flew off the handle. I know.
But the fact that you flew off the handle, that's what you want to avoid.
Right.
Yeah, you want to avoid that part. But at least, having the awareness to know you were going to, and then that you did, is a major gain over people who do it and have no idea they're doing it. That's blind.
The majority of us are basically, like you said, you're on autopilot all day.
You're on autopilot. You're on autopilot all day. So, yeah, that's where I think that this whole, and we use Dr. Joe as an example because he's just mainstream and very popular. A lot of people talk about what he does. I mean, his is more than the deeper meditations, which are great. I would give, if you're into that, I know a few people who are personally in my life that I didn't know until I brought it up in just conversations. Like, oh my God, yeah, I love Dr. Joe. Like, he's a pretty mainstream guy. I would check him out. He's worth to give a listen to. A lot of his talks are really cool.
Yeah.
And the way he describes the whole mind, body, heart connection, that alignment.
I recommend you see that first. I recommend you see him talk
Yeah, before you do
right?
the meditations, because they're not going to make sense to you or else.
And you kind of get a flavor for his philosophy, get a flavor for what.
When you hear him say, "Focus on the space by your throat
Yeah.
in space."
His fa-
Like if you do that in his meditation first, you can be like, "Huh? What the?" I'm like, what am I doing? So listen to him give. He has a bunch of lectures out there, and like half hour, 40 minutes. One's an hour. I was listening to where he goes through the whole like schematical architectural layout of what he's doing, and it's really great. And then you're like, I get it.
There's a few videos on Dr. Joe on a podcast or on a channel, very famous one. I'm sure if I say it, you guys will know. But Lewis House.
Yeah.
And so Lewis House puts a lot of Dr. Joe info out there, and so I recommend. And you know what? And he has the name of his show is, I should know it but
I forgot,
something like the Success University or something along those lines. But anyway, just look up Lewis Howes, LEWISHOWES. So it's a weird spelling of Lewis is not your traditional LOUIS. It's LEWIS, and it's Howes HOWES. Look it up. It's Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you're gonna really like that.
Yeah, I've really gotten into that work lately, and I love the rewiring the old habits and patterns in your brain.
Yep.
Right, as opposed to saying replacing or stopping or suppressing. Like it's none of that. It's the complete opposite. It's envisioning something better while accepting what is actually happening right now. And that's basically what acceptance is, right? So that's what we were getting to the beginning of the episode when I said acceptance is not a waving a white flag. It's not a submission. It's an empowerment. It allows you to accept that this is happening in my life, but I get to rewrite what I want my future to be like, right? I can make that I can make that my personal reality by changing he calls it your personality, right? By changing person. And when he says changing personality, he means changing your attitude, the way you approach things, the actions that you take, right? The not the thoughts that you have, but the conscious thoughts that you bring up of what you want to do, right? It's not, that's why I said it's not thought replacement. It's not, it has nothing to do with that. That's why acceptance is actually that. And when we say when people say take a committed action in acceptance, so it's accepting what is, and then taking a committed action towards the value and meaningful life, that's exactly what it is. But that commitment for value to meaningful life is actually like what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. It's what I envision my life to be like and what I want it to be like. And I'm going to take committed actions towards those things because there's something that I value and I want. So that's that key part that I think is really important to kind of highlight with acceptance is that. And then you add that mentality, which is what ACT is, but they really don't go into it. Like they tell you committed, valued actions, right? To do things that you value and you care about and put your energy there. That's exactly what he says, but he says it and he throws the meditations into it to say, envision what you want that to be. And now your actions are in line with that. Your choices are in line with that, all while accepting and having that awareness of what is your old patterns, your old habits, what your mind is throwing at you now. We don't negate that. We don't push that away. We don't hide that. We accept that it's there. We allow it to be there, but we still get a choice to look that way and say, well, that's how I want my life to be. So,
well, you have a choice in everything because the fact that you play Dr. Joe Dispenza and you do those meditations, you have a choice because you could choose to not do that. You could choose to do something else.
Yeah, sure.
And it reminds me of a story Bob Proctor told. Bob Proctor, as you know, he was an older guy. And he died, 3 years ago? And he tells a story about how he you could see it if you look it up on YouTube. It's all over. He takes out an old record player, but the old record player, the vinyl, the one that has the stack. When you play the record, it was portable. So it was a portable record player from way back in the day with a little horn where the sound comes out of. So I don't know how he powered it, but apparently maybe a cigarette lighter. I don't know. I'm talking smack. The point is, he says, Earl Nightingale, who was the original Dr. Joe, let's say, back in the day. I don't know. You ever heard of Erd Nightingale?
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Okay. He got records from, because there was no YouTube back then. There was no cell phones. So he got a record player, and he got this Earl Nightingale record, and he was a traveling salesman or whatever he was, and he played it in the car. Record player. Over and over and over and over until he rewired his thinking. He
Sure. You could change your programming.
And that's what he did. So using that example with a record player, no cell phone, no nothing, he goes, I took this everywhere I went. And that's what we're doing. That's what so you're rewiring everything for a more positive and a more effective outcome.
Absolutely.
Because you have the ability to. Just like you have the ability to not. Or you could let the environment program your subconscious, because that's what happens.
Well, that's what happens, and you don't realize it that it does easily, and that becomes your personal reality.
So there's a phenomenon I'm going to share with you, and that you're probably I know you know what I mean, because you've been in the world long enough, but it's not like, you see, you don't have a job where you go to an office setting often. You follow me?
No, not anymore.
So I go to an office setting, and everybody is a different character. And now that I have this mindset, I am very keen and I'm very observant as to who acts in what way, like who has qualities that I like, who has qualities I don't like. When I say I like or don't like, I don't mean
Yeah.
I don't mean the person, but like, whatever. People with bad habits or bad predisposition.
Understood.
And it's incredible when you have this type of thinking and you go into an office. Now, being a student of Dr. Joe, what do you think if I walk in the office? How do you think I walk in the office? Being a student of Dr. Joe and being a student of Bob Proctor and all that stuff that I love to.
Positive mindset.
Very positive. As I walk in, I'm not walking in going, hey, no. Like I walk in and go, good morning, how you doing? And maybe I might throw a joke or something to make somebody laugh, be like, hey, how you doing? I go, oh, don't worry, don't call the police, it's me, one of those. And I noticed that most people don't, how do I say, they're not conscious enough to give the effort to
do that.
And I'm not saying you have to, but what I'm saying is
sometimes not for everybody's not
what
that
I'm saying,
outgoing. Yeah.
What I'm saying is I could see that you are not blind, but you're on autopilot. You're on autopilot.
You could see that,
and it just, unfortunately, it's one of the things that comes with this is you start to realize who's on the right wavelength, who's not,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you definitely can.
It's fun,
especially if the people are like that every day, right? Could there be some days somebody's maybe just digesting something, and even if they're present with it, they're just not, in that mindset in that moment. But if they're the same way every day, then they're on. I would say then they're on autopilot. Like if every day that's the same, you're getting that repetitive pattern. That's autopilot. If it's a once in a while kind of thing, it could be that person just mentally chewing on something, even consciously, maybe just working on something in their minds or whatever it might be, and they're just not in that in that mindset. Yeah. But if somebody's doing it all the time, like all the time, then they're stuck in a sort of a pattern, a habitual pattern of some sort.
I just love observing.
Yeah,
I'm a sociologist.
Yeah, no, I do too. I'll look at I'll walk into a room and you look at people, you figure out, who's dealing with, like, okay, is that person like totally unconscious right now? Does that person have any awareness? You can pick up on cues for sure, for sure. So
I love that.
Yeah, no, but it's all good stuff.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
that's all good stuff, man.
At the end of the day, I think we are all in a dark room, going like this, trying to figure things out, and what is what is positive, what worked, what didn't work. I think we're all doing this, but there's people like us that even though we can't see it, we know this is good, this is positive, and so we kind of go back and make sure we can find this place in that dark room to kind of get us. And then many people, like, they're done. They don't even look for it. They're boom, up, boom, up. It's complete unconscious.
Yeah.
Complete unconscious. Because we don't speak brain. Right?
Don't speak brain.
We don't speak. I mean, you saw me. I mean, you see me often. But,
we don't speak. Yeah, we don't speak brain.
And even you. So all of us. At some point, we slip on a banana peel. And
yeah, it's called being human.
Right. And we do things that, shit, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to burst in a fit, you know what I mean? A fit of rage. But damn, I did. I feel like an idiot. But you see it, you know it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but don't even feel like an idiot. Just notice it, because if you say you feel like an idiot and you beat yourself up about it, that's basically falling unconscious again.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping off.
I'm saying no. But I'm saying in general, right? Even to have that negative language, it's for everybody out there. I'm not talking about you. Like if you do slip on, if you do have a slip up, don't beat yourself up about it. It's not about beating yourself up, because if beating yourself up, you're actually falling unconscious again and falling into that old negative habit. Oh, what was me? Look, I can't get nothing right. There's no consciousness there again. So don't beat yourself up. Have the awareness to know it happened, and try to hold that awareness, so then you avoid those situations as much as possible and stay as conscious as possible. Because if you do, your choices, your decisions, your actions are going to be in line with what you want to do in life, for the life you want to live, instead of the life you've been prescribed your whole life
by somebody else,
and you've been given, and you've been told, and you've learned and adapted and evolved into by just your surroundings. You could say that's not what I want to be. Like I notice a lot of my old habits now. Like I see them. I notice when they want to come up. I notice when my mind wants to attach to something. I know my mind wants to say, woe is me. And I try to live in a world of acceptance constantly. Like I probably say to myself, I can't tell you how many times a day, without saying the word, but like mentally just go, I notice it, I accept it, I move on. I notice it, I accept it, I move on. Sometimes it feels great. Sometimes it feels shitty. Sometimes it feels like nothing. Sometimes I'm like, there's nothing behind it. I just said it. Like I know it. I realize it. Nothing. Sometimes I still feel, Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's great. I feel, yes. All right. Beautiful. Yes. I accept it. And wow, let's go back into life. Sometimes, okay, I accept it. Let's go back into life. Sometimes I accept it. Okay, I don't like it, but let's go back into life. So it doesn't matter what the emotion behind it is. It's the choice you're making is what's important. That choice you're making is what's important. Is what's important. It is what is important, and that's where you live your life. You live your life in the choices you make in the moments in every moment that we live.
Yeah, for real.
You could see the future. You could want to have that future. You could say, I would love to have that future, and work towards it and meditate on it and try to hardwire your brain to have these new habits that are better for you and these new, patterns that are better for you. Absolutely. 100%. But it all starts with those little choices we make. So that's my rant for today. After listening to a few Dr. Joe's last couple of days and just...
Well, I'm doing research. And I told you, I'm gonna make notes, because every time I hear a gem, I'm in the car. Oh, and I want to write it down, but it flies. Napoleon Hill, told you. Napoleon Hill gave speeches, and I think he drops these little jewels, and they're really good. And I gotta write it down and share it with everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great. You should.
Now, how are we doing on time? We're okay?
We are about 45 minutes in. So yeah, about 45 minutes in. Why?
Because I think, I don't know. I think our next episode, we're going to have a special guest, maybe?
Yes. I was going to actually mention that. That's why I didn't say. So our next episode, after this one, we're going to be recording it next week. I forgot the day. I got to check the calendar. I already sent out the invites. John Smolsky from Think, Live, Repeat. He's another podcaster. We kind of hooked up back in the day. I listened to one of his podcasts. He liked something that I said, and I looked at his podcast, so I listened to him. His is very. He started out like very. It's Invest Inwards is his kind of company that he has, and it's very business related stuff. But also, he's taken lately a very big interest in anxiety. And he actually started a alternate website called Calm Yourself, I believe is the name of it. And he has this whole initiative with anxiety going. So when I saw that, I kind of reached out to him. I was like, hey, John, I was like, I'm loving what you're doing with this anxiety thing. And he posted some reels about it. Like he's experienced panic attacks in the past. And I'm like, I told him, would you like to be on the show? He's like, absolutely, I would love to. So he'll be on next week. Then I actually have somebody from my coaching class, my old coaching class, Sherry Herman, who's a therapist and also a personal coach now, who she has her own business. And, we were friendly during class. We kind of knew each other, we kind of connected, I guess, on a certain level. We've been going back and forth since we finished our coaching class. She's been liking a lot of my stuff and reposting it because we found each other on Instagram. I've kind of looked through her feed. I've liked a lot of her stuff. And I was talking to her last night. We were just going back and forth about something I had posted. And I said, hey, listen, I go, would you like to be on the show too? Because she, in her bio, I read her website, she teaches acceptance commitment therapy. And I was like, okay. Listen, I go, you a big fan of acting? So she goes, I love acting. I think acting's great. I'm like, would you love to be on the show too? I'm like, because I was like, this is what we talk about. She's like, yeah, absolutely. She sent me a bunch of dates. I got to get back to Sherry. I'm going to get back there tonight and I'll plan that one out. But next week's episode will be with John from, Think, Live, what did I say? No, Invest Inwards was the name of the Think, Live, Repeat is the name of the show. I got a bad memory sometimes. Think, Live, Repeat. Sorry, John. And then after that, my friend Sherry, you'll probably be a guest at some point. So we'll see how that goes with the guests. But John's, if you guys get a second, check out his podcast because it actually is. He's got some cool guests on. He does guests all the time. So he doesn't do what we do. He has a guest every week.
Well, that's kind of the key to growth. I think.
Yeah, he has a guest every week. And he's had some really interesting people on it. So I would definitely give him a listen if you get a chance. Yeah, I think you guys might find it interesting, especially if you want a different flavor, something that's more kind of business world related and stuff like that. Like people telling their stories of things that they've experienced. And it's not all business. It's even personal stories, their success stories, things that they've, adversities they went through, things that they use to kind of get successful in life. So it's very cool. So you guys give them I
think those are useful talks.
Yeah, no, I think they are too.
Yeah.
I think they are too. Absolutely. So that'll be the plan kind of going forward. So
looking good.
That's it. Anything else?
No, you brought two quality guests, and I got the goldfish keeper from the aquarium. Let me tell you something.
Hey, don't knock a goldfish.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So we'll go from there. I think that's about it. No?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Would you like to do a Dr. Joe one? Oh, focus. Bring your attention to the space between your ears
and your throat.
In space. Oh, it is the freakiest thing, but listen to it. Listen to a couple of his interviews and lectures if you can, and then do a couple of the meditations. I think they're great. I joke about that because I think it's just funny how he says it. It's his voice and delivery in space. Afterwards.
Can I tell you another one? So if you look up Dr. Joe recently, not before, recently, YouTube is filled with Dr. Joe knockoffs.
Yes, you got to be careful because there's other people who are using his face and his name and meditations, and it's not really him.
And they're bad.
Yes.
There's one that.
It's another guy talking the whole time. They use Dr. Joe for 10 seconds, and then it's just somebody talking for 20 minutes.
No offense to my Chinese brethren, because, I have a lot of Chinese friends, but you understand me. It's a Chinese knockoff where even his English is incorrect. So
I haven't heard that one yet.
They pieced this thing together.
How do they get away with that with licensing issues?
Yeah, it takes time and then they get knocked down. So, but in the meantime, it's up there. and even his English is off.
Yeah, I know. You will know if you're watching an original. That's why I say watch his videos first. You get to know him, his cadence, his tone, his voice, and then you'll find his meditations on there. But that's funny.
It's funny. He goes, capture the minds in space. I'm like, what?
That's not Dr. Joe.
So like they take these pieces.
That might sound like Benny from the Chinese store on the Chinese food. That's not like Dr. Joe.
Number 7.
Yeah,
with extra pork
God.
fries.
Yeah, people try crazy stuff. I don't get it. I leave what I guess people are out there to try to make money anyhow, and I don't know. That's the unconscious crazy world that we live in at times.
You know, I don't have much time, but I always carve out this little morning time, right? Where depending on how much time I have, I love to do the long ones, but if I don't have the time, look for anything. So I'm looking for Dr. Joe. I'm like, here we go. There's one. I haven't done this one before. It looks nice. Boom, play. Let's go. And then I hear a voice. It's like a knockoff. So you go in space. So that would be like me recording a video or an audio, trying to sound like I'm not even clipping Dr. Joe. John, bring your attention to your throat in space. Like that. Like and they put there Dr. Joe. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrendous.
Yeah. Well, good job, YouTube. Way to be.
Oh, horrendous. Poor Dr. Joe.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for him. Don't worry about it. He's doing just fine.
Was it imitation? Is
the best form of flattery? Yes. Yeah, and I guess so. Right. So, all right. Well, I will not be doing a Dr. Joe meditation. I will be doing one of mine because I'm not Dr. Joe.
In space?
I can't. That's not the way.
By the way, Dr. Joe get hair plugs?
I don't know.
That's a hair.
I don't live with him.
That's a hair
plug. Really?
Yeah.
You pay attention that much to what he looks like?
I do, because I watch so many videos on Dr. Joe that I saw Dr. Joe.
Yeah, Dr. Joe, you jealous, baby?
I saw when he had his slick back hair.
Yeah.
And then I saw with Dr. Hill like a little flat toppy thing going on. And then it was all forward. I'm like, what's going on here?
I haven't really seen recent. I watch a lot of the older videos. I haven't seen anything super recent of him. Maybe on his website there is something.
Look him up. But apparently he disappeared for a while. He was off the scene for a good year. And I'm like, okay, he's getting hair plugs. He's a public figure.
Maybe he just took a break. I don't know.
I don't know, but like I've researched him. Like I've done, some research.
Deep dark web.
Yeah. Like he's married. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he is. He's married with kids.
I'm saying, I was about to rattle off. But he did graduate from Rutgers right here.
Did he really?
In New Jersey.
No, he's from Jersey?
He's not from Jersey. He's from.
Why would you? I don't want to say why would you go to Rutgers if you're not from Jersey? But
he's from Washington State.
Really, and he came all the way across the country to Rutgers.
Yep.
I must have had I mean, I know they have some great programs there, so he must have been some Washington. Specialized program.
Yep.
Oh,
and
wow.
he got some degree from Rutgers.
Well, look at that.
Yep.
Rutgers Scarlet Knight, Dr. Joe. Well, no, I like him a little bit more.
Look it up.
Rutgers is in my backyard. Okay. All right, I can smell my food. All right, let's.
It was like octopus. No.
You go up and tell her that she's gonna smack you. She's making chicken
with garlic.
It smells like octopus.
Paprika.
No. It's chicken.
Octopus is the chicken of the sea.
That's tuna fish, bro.
That's a brand.
It's a bumblebee tuna. All right.
Octopus is the.
And then we filled the last 5 minutes and they get to 55. You happy? We got to our 55 minutes. All right. Okay. Let's do this, Brutus, and we'll get everybody out of here. Hope everybody had a nice time. Enjoyed it. Hope you found some of the stuff we were talking about helpful. If not, oh well. No, if I hope you did, and if you did, please, like you said, we've seen, while we don't get a ton of actual likes, even though people are watching the videos, man, click that like button.
Yeah.
You want to? I don't know what it does, honestly. I don't know how it helps us, but if you click the like button, it's nice.
You want to break the internet?
I like when people say, "Hey, good job, buddy."
You want to break the internet?
I'm not taking my shirt off. I've been working out easy. I've been working out, but we're not there yet.
Well, that would break the internet. But if you really want to break the internet, Scott Adams does the Man Cave. So he does the morning show.
This is my man cave.
No, but he does a morning show in his office.
Uh-huh.
And then he does a night show in the Man Cave.
Uh-huh.
The Man Cave is only reserved for the people that pay.
Okay.
The paying subscribers.
We need to get those first.
Wait. I'm not there. I'm not there. He smokes bongs in the man cave where he's talking to. So
if my wife would be happy about that, but okay.
we will break the internet
if we smoke bongs.
If we bong it out with these people, we will break the internet, and these people will like it and share it. And you know what,
bro? I'm high on life.
How about this? Send us a 1 if we should do it. Send us a 0 if we shouldn't, and we'll listen to you. That's it.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna let. No offense to the people behind the camera. I'm gonna let society judge if I should do drugs. Isn't that peer pressure? Isn't that called peer pressure?
People have spoken.
Is that called peer pressure?
No,
I don't know.
Democracy is what it is.
Democracy. All right. Yeah. Okay.
You like that?
We'll see what happens.
Democracy.
We'll see if we get 1s and 0s.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, put your 1s and your 0s, and we'll get Henry high if you want.
Oh, thanks. No. Both of us have to start talking smack.
We'll get Henry blazing back here.
Talking smack.
Okay. Let's go. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching, listening in. Again, we'll catch you guys next week. That'll be our guest episode. And again, stay conscious, stay aware, practice. It is a ever loving, everyday practice, but it is not work. It is only work if you make it work. It's not work. It's just a way to look at life and an approach to life. And it's a beautiful place to be. So if you haven't started, start flexing those muscles, start working that awareness out, realize that you have it. And that's it. And, and everybody enjoy your dinner.
And then share the benefits.
And share the benefits. Okay. So close your eyes. If you are sitting, try to get a good posture. If you're standing and walking and listening to us right now, that's fine. You can turn this into a walking meditation. As long as you're not behind the car, unless it's a Tesla. No, you're joking. Even then, do not do this behind the wheel of a car or operate any heavy machinery.
You will need a wall.
You'll need a wall, yes. So let's just close our eyes. Take a couple of nice, slow, relaxing breaths. Just kind of slow the patterns in our mind down and the mind stream down a little bit. Bringing our focus to the breath will help you do that. If there's any mind chatter while we're doing this, allow it to be there. Just continue taking some nice, deep breaths. Hold them and then release them. Okay, I like to do that 3 to 4 second interval on the inhale, the hold, and the release. As you do so, keeping your attention on that breath for now. If your mind does wander, gently shift it back and reshift that focus to where you want it to be. If your mind is telling you it needs to get up, you have that awareness to know that you want to stay here and continue doing this exercise. Gently tell your mind, your body that you are going to stay here and continue doing this. To bring your attention to any part of your body. If you're feeling any discomfort anywhere, tightness, if there's any pain you have in your body right now, one way or another, you can bring your attention to that. Let's not judge it. No judgment of it. We're not here to complain or judge about it. We're here to notice it and bring our attention that it is there. Allow it to be there. And then bring our focus back to the breath. Remember, this is an exercise in awareness and noticing. It's not an exercise in judgment or why am I having too many thoughts or why am I not. Continue breathing. Let's take a couple of more. Let's take one last deep one. And you can slowly open your eyes and re-enter the room. If you want to stay here and continue, you could do a body scan. and do some more breath work if you'd like. That'd be great. If not, then we'll catch you guys next week.
This was a very healing show. I loved it. I needed it today. It was very
Good. I'm glad I could help. That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
Bills in the mail.
Oh, no. No. Horrible. Return.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Peace out. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.